that. So here's a passage from Euclid's Elements, and if you were trying to learn math back in the time of Euclid, this would be what you were trying to learn. A ton and ton of things that sound like if a first magnitude has to a second, the same ratio as a third has to a fourth, and also a fifth has to the second, the same ratio as a sixth to the fourth, and the sum of the first and the fifth has a second, and so on and so on. If you don't like math class now, try this math class, right? That's what it was like until at some point we developed the technology to actually write mathematical notation, right? And so this that you see on the screen right now, this if A over B is C over D and E over B is equal to F over D, then that sum on the bottom line, that's the equivalent of this giant page of text, but it's actually much more understandable if you've been introduced to mathematical notation. If you haven't, it might look a little bit cryptic, but once you learn it, it's actually pretty simple. And in fact, this entire paragraph from Elements is something that's so simple, we wouldn't really even bother to teach it this way today because the symbolic manipulation of mathematics is so powerful that we teach kids the manipulation. You see this line on the bottom is just like, look, the way we explain it to kids is like, look, if you want to add two fractions, you can do that. You can add the numerators if they have the same denominator, right? That is a more general rule that encapsulates this case and many other cases. And so once you have that, you're much more powerful than somebody who's trying to memorize a bunch of these things. However, again, that is not to slight this technology here, because this technology is a tremendous advancement over what we had before that. Anyway, coming up with mathematical notation was pretty hard. It took us a long time to come up with the idea of writing plus as a symbol. That was first done in the year 1360. And apparently that was so hard to come up with that it took us another 130 years after that to come up with the idea of minus. But then once we could write plus and minus, then, only after another 50 years, we started doing square roots. And then the cat was out of the bag and we sort of saw the pattern and how to do all of these different kinds